Every dahlia seed produces a new flower that the world has never seen before. The seeds that I hold in my hand could produce a flower that florists and gardeners dream about. Here's how you can get in on this dahlia lottery and grow varieties to call your own. 6 weeks before your last frost is the perfect time to start dahlias from seed. Probably the most reliable way to germinate dahlia seeds is by what we call using the paper towel method. So basically what you're gonna do is you're just gonna wet a stack of paper towels. Blue shop towels are best, and you'll see why a little bit later. Then just wring out all that excess water so you're left with just a damp stack of paper towels. So now, starting from the bottom of the stack, you're gonna take your seeds and you're gonna sprinkle them down, and you're just gonna spread them across this lower layer of paper towels. And make sure to throw a label in there of what the seed parent is or who you got the seeds from, because you wanna track what the best producers are. So then you just fold another paper towel down and you just keep layering these like a lasagna. Seeds, label, fold it down, seeds, label, fold it down, and continue. This next part is critical to keeping these moist. You're gonna wanna take these paper towels and either place them in a large Ziploc bag, or you can put them on a plate covered in saran wrap. These seeds don't yet need light, but they do need heat. So you wanna keep these around 75 degrees for optimal germination. So why wouldn't you just direct seed these like you do vegetables and other seeds? Well, that's a good question. Dahlias don't exactly have the best germination rate. So this paper towel method allows us to only plant the seeds that we know are gonna germinate. So as the seeds germinate, we take them out one by one and then plant them in a flat. The other advantage to this method is you're saving space. So say you're growing in a small area in an indoor grow rack, you're utilizing every single cell inside of the tray you're planting in. If you just plant out a tray and say only 60% germinate, now about a third of that tray is just waste, and you're wasting valuable grow space inside. So you've kept your seeds at 75 degrees. Some people just use the top of their fridge, some people have a warm windowsill, or some people's house is just warm. Anywhere that's in the 70s is gonna work. So after about 48 hours, you wanna start checking on your seeds, because some dahlia seeds germinate really quickly. So you're just gonna go in there, flip up one row of paper towels at a time, and check what seeds germinated. This is why we use those blue shop towels. It's a lot easier to spot that little white sprout when you have a blue background versus just a white paper towel. The other benefit is because sometimes that white root will form, it'll really get stuck and be able to push into just a white kitchen paper towel. The blue paper towels are a lot more sturdy and you don't really get that problem. From there, you're gonna transplant the little seeds that have that little white tail coming out into slightly moist potting mix. It's key to just keep this potting mix slightly moist, or you're gonna have mold issues and some seeds could rot before they even sprout. Now, it's important to check on these every single day. Like I mentioned earlier, dahlia seeds germinate at a totally different rate. Some as little as 24, 48 hours, and some take several days. So it's critical that you check on these every day and transplant them as they sprout. If you don't have the time to babysit your seedlings, then don't hesitate just to directly seed them. A lot of people do this just because of dahlia's low germination rate. You just may end up wasting some space. But feel free to just directly plant seeds in a 32 or 50 cell tray, keep them watered, and see what happens. You might get lucky and most of the tray might germinate. Feeling a bit lazy? Well, there's actually a third method of germination you can use that combines both the paper towel technique and the direct seeding technique. So rather than the lasagna paper towel method, you can take just a regular 10-20 tray, fill it with moist potting soil, lay your seeds right on top, and then sprinkle a thin layer of vermiculite to keep the seeds moist. And once the seedlings sprout in this tray, you just pluck them out, making sure you get the whole root, and then transplant them into your 32 or 50 cell tray. So your seeds are germinated and transplanted into your trays. What's next? Now for some critical steps to make sure that they grow healthy. Depending where you're growing your seedlings, you might want to use a humidity dome. So I grow these in my basement, which is very dry. So I put a humidity dome, but only on them until they have a couple sets of leaves. After that, I want them to get nice, strong, and hardy. So I pull the humidity domes off and they get used to the dry air and it makes them hardier. Just like those seeds, these seedlings want to be kept around 75 degrees. So if you don't have somewhere in your house that's in the 70s, you're going to want to get a seedling heat mat. But don't just throw them on a heat mat and call it a day. You need to run this on a temperature controller. If you don't, you're gonna overheat your seedlings, and some of them will literally just turn to mush. Just as important as the temperature is the lighting. So when it comes to grow lights, if you're using weak lights, you have to be really close to those seedlings, as close as a few inches. More powerful grow lights, you can go somewhere around a foot, 15 inches, somewhere around there. Also keep in mind if you're using fluorescent bulbs, fluorescent bulbs get really hot, so you're gonna cook your seedlings if you're too close. I have a fan set up so it circulates fresh air, so the air between the light and the seedlings doesn't get scorching hot and burn the leaves. If you're using LEDs, you're probably gonna have to get down close to the seedlings, but you don't have that same worry about the heat burning them. If you really wanna get technical, there's an app you can download on your phone that lets you measure the light strength and how far you should be from your plants. Or you can order what's called a light meter and it'll do the same thing. As these seedlings are growing, you want to keep the soil moist, but not soaking wet. It's actually okay to let them dry out a little bit. This forces the plant to grow out nice roots and stretch for that water. Once these seedlings have 2-3 sets of leaves, it's time to start fertilizing. So you only have to fertilize them with about a 50% strength mix. You can use something cheap just like Miracle-Gro that you can just get at the store. And a word about the fertilizers. When it comes to gardening outdoors, I am a huge proponent of organic, and I try to use all organic practices for my vegetables and even my dahlias outside. But when they're in the house, I do use chemical fertilizers for my seedlings. Why is that? Well, organic fertilizers stink generally. Usually they contain fish and natural things like that. So on top of smelling up your house, they also attract bugs and insects, which are also things that you don't want in your house. So it's totally your personal choice of what you want to fertilize with, but just be careful because the organic stuff could introduce bugs and stink up your house. So when is it time to plant these seedlings outside? Well, first of all, you want them at least a size like this. I'm gonna let these grow another week or two before planting them out, but as long as it's warm outside, this size would be perfectly fine. Ideally, you want your soil to be at least 60 degrees and your daytime temps to be getting into the 70s. Oh, and most importantly, make sure that the risk of frost has passed in your area. There's a few important steps you can take to make sure that these produce good tubers and grow to their best potential out in your garden. First, when transplanting these, it's not a bad idea to pull the bottom leaves off your dahlias. Usually when you dig them up in the fall, wherever there's a leaf node, a nice viable tuber will form. So in the event that you're keeping your seedling for the following year to grow out, you're gonna have extra tubers where there was a leaf node. The truth is 90% of these dahlias are just not gonna be worth keeping. They're gonna have poor genetics, they're gonna have open centers, weak plants, whatever it is. Most of these just aren't gonna make it the following year. So because of that, we don't want these seedlings to take up valuable space in our garden. So unlike tuber planting, we're gonna space these 6 or 9 inches apart, keep them really close together compared to what you would wanna do with tubers. Some people even plant these in 4-inch pots and plant them directly in the ground. Why would you do this? Well, it makes it much easier to cull bad varieties when you're trying to get rid of them. If you have a variety that flowers and you don't particularly like the flower, you can pull that entire 4-inch pot out of the ground and discard of that dahlia without really disrupting the root systems all around it. Checking up on your dahlias that you grew from seed is gonna be like Christmas morning. With any luck, you're gonna get a few awesome varieties that you want to keep growing the following year. Dahlia genetics can be a bit unstable, so you need to grow these out 3, 4, or even more years to make sure that they're genetically stable before you bring them out into market. So with any luck, in 3 or 4 years, we're going to be seeing some of your dahlia varieties